3-step no BS guide for Nofap. All right, so step 0 is noticing that you have a problem to begin with. And if you're watching this video, you've already completed step 0, because if you didn't know it was bad for you, then you wouldn't even click on this video to begin with, because you'd be fucking naive, right? They say ignorance is bliss. You'd be in that ignorant bliss category. But since you're already watching this content, I'm not about to give you the same fucking nonsense advice. Oh, it's bad for you, punches holes in your brain, all that shit. You already know that. I'm not about to waste your time. So, step 1, you gotta really figure out why you're so addicted to begin with, why you can't quit, which is noticing the gap or inadequacies in your life that it fills. This could be a social gap. For example, you feel lonely at night, often at night, right? You notice at night because usually in the morning, some people, right, still in the morning because you're that deep in the rabbit hole, but usually starts out at least as a nighttime thing because you feel alone, you don't have the touch for women, maybe your social circles aren't that advanced, you just feel alone in general. So that could be the reason that you're maybe indulging. And the solution I say to give to this is to try to build a vibrant social circle as best you can. Go places, right? Even if you don't got a large social group yet, just go places alone and start doing things that you want to do. Stop trying to do things that you think people will give you validation for. Start doing what you actually want to do. And if you don't want to do anything, it's probably because you're too addicted to your phone, too addicted to social media. So delete that shit as soon as possible and then start going places alone that you want to do. You can figure this out very simply by, after you delete social media, sit alone with your thoughts for a few hours with a piece of paper in front of you and try to think about what you want to do. Has to be something you leave the house for, okay? And you're gonna leave the house, you're gonna do whatever that is, and eventually you keep going to these places that you like, you become more well known there, and you develop connections you like. I like the gym, personally. Like, I have a rack and stuff to train at home, and some gym equipment, but I still rather go to places because I build a good social circle around that, and that really helped me a lot. Next, your neediness. You feel like you subconsciously need a woman, or you need to release for some reason. You need to get rid of this energy, because once the energy builds up, you don't know what to do with it. Weird advice that everyone gives that is actually true. You gotta take deeper breaths. For some reason, this helps. Circulate that energy around your body instead of keeping it in that one position. I don't want to get all spiritual with you guys, but there's something really to that. And you need to figure out why you think you need to do this. You're gonna journal that for a few hours. So your step 1 action step, as soon as this video is done, you're gonna grab a little notepad. See this video, I have it, last video you're gonna have it. You're gonna have a little pen, and you're gonna ask yourself, why do I feel like I need to jerk off? Why do I feel like I need to watch porn? You're gonna ask yourself these questions. You're gonna ask yourself why you feel like you need why you even need a woman in your life to begin with. You need to figure this out. You need to figure this out. I can't give you the answer for you. You can do that though. And with that knowledge, you'll actually find real advice that's tailored to you, because people have an issue where they search too much for advice. They search too much for the right answer, the magic words that they need. They're one motivational speech away from accomplishing their goals, when in reality, you don't even know what your goals should be, and you're probably living in someone else's footsteps because that's all you've been told. You need to do some self-reflection to figure out what you actually need, because what you need is gonna be different than what I need. What you want is gonna be different than what I want. And my advice isn't gonna be as good as your own advice to yourself, because only you can help yourself. Only you can save yourself in this evil world we live in. And no one's gonna save you. Nobody. You have to save yourself. So that's what you need to figure out. You need to figure out why you quote unquote need that, because you don't actually need it, but you think you do on some subconscious level. You need to figure out that. You need to figure out why. You need to stop living from this scarcity that you need this, that this is your only way, and convince yourself that there's a different way, and that this different way is not possible. You cannot achieve it unless you change the way you live, unless you change the actions you have, unless you change the habits you have. You have to convince yourself of this truth. You have to convince yourself of this fact, because you know it to be true. And no one can tell you that better than yourself. You need to figure out what experiences you experienced as a kid, as a child, when you were younger, or right now, or even a few weeks ago, that caused you to come from this scarcity, that this is the only thing that you can do it, that, oh, it's normal, it's okay. Maybe it's not okay. Maybe you don't want to be normal. Maybe you don't want to be like everybody else, and only you can get yourself to that position. All right, now you need to figure out the triggers, the patterns that get you into this place of failing anyways, because you're probably already at the situation where you go a few days and you fail. You go a few days and you fail. You slip into an old habit. You slip into an old path of some kind. Or maybe you're not even conscious enough to realize you're in these old habits or in these old paths to begin with. They're not even old. Maybe they're still current. I don't know that. For example, a lot of people, they scroll on apps like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, even Reddit. That's a little deeper in the fucking rabbit hole. But a lot of these apps, they basically have softcore porn, right? And late at night, you're scrolling, and you might not even realize that you're subconsciously looking for this. You're looking for that little bit, that little trigger. You're actually looking for triggers. Your brain is setting yourself up for failure. You have to stop trusting your own brain. Your brain has gotten you to this position, so you have to stop trusting that and start trusting something else. Start trusting a different part of you. You have to unlock that part of your spirit, that part that you don't even know exists. That's what you have to do. Instead of trusting this subconscious lizard brain that will inevitably keep you stuck in the position you're in now, because the brain, the ego, is afraid of change. You are on a level afraid of change, so you have to break that pattern, right? So the lizard brain will get you to scroll until you find something that stimulates it, and then that will crush your willpower, because now you're in a position of need, of scarcity, of, oh, that girl's hot, I need her. You don't fucking need her, but you think that. You actually think that. Or maybe not even, you don't even think that, because maybe you're not even thinking at all. Maybe you're reacting with that. You need to dig deeper in yourself and break down these patterns. So maybe you always take a shower and you lie down in your bed after your shower with your phone in your hand, scroll for a little bit, and then you fail there, right? So now what you're gonna do is maybe you're gonna take a shower and put your phone in a different room when you go to bed and plug it in there. And now, before you even step on your bed, and now when you go to sleep, you don't have that temptation. Or if your phone's always on your nightstand, now it's not. Now it's in your bathroom. You just got to do these different things. You got to make it harder to add another level of thought between you and the vice. Because if it's too easy to slip into a pattern that has you fucked already, then change the pattern. Instead of just stopping yourself from doing that, change the trigger. Remove the trigger. The trigger is you do this, then that. Remove this, and you don't need to lie down in that specific order. You don't have to. And it's not going to be that necessarily difficult to avoid that. And in a simple way, just moving the initial thing to a different spot might be all it takes. Maybe. That's another tip, right? Put your phone in a different room and you go to sleep. Put your phone either not in a different room. Put your phone far enough away where you have to consciously get out of bed to walk to it. This will make it more conscious, and you'll be more aware of your thoughts. Big thing, you gotta become more aware. Meditation is also incredibly OP in this area because it makes you more mindful, more aware of your thoughts. You become less consumed by your stupid lizard brain that's gotten you this perspective. Because what you really need to do is break down the lizard brain and start thinking like a human. Most people don't think. We literally have the attention span of goldfish now. I believe there's a study that people use TikTok for a few hours a day, have the attention span of that. And that study was from a few years ago. I haven't heard that study in years. And it's probably even worse now, if I'm being realistic. So, damn, I can't read my own handwriting. Oh yeah, side note, your willpower, right? You need to train your willpower in some way. So you're gonna, every day, have something that requires a degree of discipline, and you're gonna make it difficult over time. So the first thing I recommend you do is just make your bed every morning. Now, a lot of military guys do this for this reason. The actual act of making your bed every day is not actually that hard. It's very easy, and once it becomes a habit, it takes almost no effort. But the simple act of forcing yourself to do something easy like that builds willpower, builds consistency. In fact, pause the video right now and go make your bed if you haven't made it already. Okay? And once that becomes a habit, you're gonna add something a little harder, right? Once you don't feel a degree of struggle, of that almost like headache, pain inside your head, like, oh, I don't want to do this, doesn't really matter, this is stupid. Once you stop feeling that with making your bed, you're gonna do something harder, okay? Maybe, oh, I'm gonna do 20 push-ups immediately afterwards. And second wake up, I'm gonna just jump out of bed. You need to do something like that. You need to make it more difficult with time, so that over time, your brain gets stronger and can resist. Because once you're conscious, once you're mindful, you're still gonna get these triggers, these thoughts. You're gonna have to resist in some way. You need to increase the will of your resistance over time. You need to progressively overload it. The same way we progressively overload in the gym our muscles with the weights, you can do this with your brain too. Your brain, although it's not a muscle, it's technically a fat, it doesn't matter. You can still progressively overload in all areas of your life, in meditation, in mindfulness, in quitting this stuff. You can do this with everything. Cold showers are good as well. Even though cold showers technically are bad for the muscles, it doesn't matter. It trains the mind. Right. Also, a little tip: do not take a cold shower after you work out. Don't take a hot shower either. Hot, not good either. Actually, might be neutral, but take a warm shower, like a lukewarm, because the coldness inhibits the inflammation needed for muscles to grow. Anyways. In the morning, take a bucket of water, put some ice in it, put your head under it for a while until it gets hard. Right? You just want to do hard things. You want to increase your tolerance for pain. You want to increase your tolerance for difficulty. You want to do harder things every single day, so that today is harder than yesterday, to train your mind to be able to accomplish things, because you probably aren't accomplishing anything in your life. That's probably why you're in this situation to begin with, because although the things that you think are hard, maybe you work out and you consider that a degree of discipline, but no, you actually kind of enjoy working out now, so it's no longer takes discipline to work out. It's actually something you enjoy to do, something you look forward to do. Therefore, the discipline is now gone, because hobbies, things you enjoy to do, often they take a degree of discipline, but a very small amount of discipline, because it brings you a joy greater than the discipline. You need to put yourself in suffering just for the sake of suffering, to train yourself to be okay with that suffering. That's what you need. You need that drive, that power. In order to get that drive and power, you need to go through something hard, something difficult. Maybe set yourself a random challenge that you're gonna complete this week that you don't think you can complete. Maybe you can't, maybe you've never ran before. Run a half marathon this week. I guarantee you could, with almost no training, as long as you're not fat as fuck, you can run a marathon this week. Not a marathon, half marathon. Marathon's a little bit of stretch. You'll probably have some negative consequences for your training your training destiny. Yeah. Okay. Step 3, mindset. You have to stop thinking. You have to stop thinking. Let me explain what that means. I know I just talked about being mindful, but you need to stop thinking off the street. You shouldn't have on your phone's wallpaper the amount of days it's been. Don't do that, because now you're making it conscious. Now you're instead of being the guy who doesn't drink or doesn't jerk off, you're now the guy who is trying to do these things. You need to stop trying and start doing. You need to change your identity. That's step A. Change your identity. Change who you think you are as a person. You're not somebody who's trying to quit jerking off, or somebody who doesn't. Okay? It's not that hard. It is actually still kind of hard to do, but you know what I mean. You have to change your identity and then just be the guy who doesn't do the thing instead of the guy who's trying to not do the thing. So no streaks. Don't count the streaks, you fucking idiot. Because if you count it, I guarantee you're gonna fail, right? There's people who on social media, they start this and they change their identity and stuff, but they change their identity to the guy who's on Nofap, and they have the days they're on Nofap for, and they're in their fucking bio. Oh, it's 20 days, 13 days. I guarantee if that's you will fail in a long enough time frame. I guarantee. Again, back to the first point of loneliness. Funny enough, you think that if you had a girlfriend, you had a woman, that you would actually stop. That's not even probably true. You probably stop for the first month and then you still fail because you didn't change your identity behind it. You still are the person who does these things. You need to change your identity and change who you think you are to get you what you want. You need to change who, instead of who you think you are, who you actually are. Because you need to change your mindset and then everything else will shift. People often start in the backward cycle of action, habit, thought. You need to start with thought, and that becomes your actions, and those actions become your habits. You need to start with thinking you are something before you can become that thing. Thinking that you not only you can do something, but you will do something. That you need to believe in that inner destiny for yourself, which is not possible without changing who you think you are. So grab your fucking little notepad or whatever, and you're gonna write. You're gonna constantly write about your identity. You're gonna constantly write about who you think you are and change who you think you are with time. You need to change the thoughts before you can possibly ever think of changing the actions. All right. And a little side note, a little something that helped me in the past is there's a video series called The Easy Peasy Way to Quit Porn. You're gonna watch this because it's a good thing. It's actually a book, I'm pretty sure, but maybe reading the book would help you more. But I really liked the audiobook. I don't listen to audiobooks. I read. I swear I read. I don't. Fuck it. My books are in this room, in my garage right now, because it's a little more quiet, so I can speak to you guys better. Speak to you guys with more aggression, and that's what you guys need. The videos need to come from the heart, and you can either listen to it or buy the book. I think there's PDF online, I don't know. Just consume that. It's good stuff. And then once you're done with that, no streaks. Don't fucking think about it. Just try not to think about it, because I guarantee the day you start thinking about it a lot is the day you're gonna fail. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Nick out. See you guys soon.